Pies. I push my fingers into my pies. That's right, today we've got a Slipknot themed beer on the channel. For those that don't know, if you've just not listened to any old music since '99, Slipknot are a huge metal band who I enjoy very much. There's no point in me trying to explain who they are to do them justice. Just go and search YouTube and see for yourself. But anyway, Black Iris Brewery, who are a Nottingham-based brewery, so super local to me, have produced this. It is a Cherry Bakewell Imperial Stout at 10.5%, called I Push My Fingers Into My Pies, which is a play on words, replacing eyes with pies from the popular Slipknot song Duality, I believe it is. And yeah, so incredible artwork on here. It's got Clown and Sid, I believe. And really that is all we need to know to get into it. So here's a quick look at the can for yourselves before I crack this open. So there's the Slipknot clown-esque motif. And then if we spin that round, I feel like I've got that wrong. That's not Sid, is it? But yeah, absolutely fantastic looking can. Let's get it open. A very full can, has to be said. Ooh, wow. Would you look at that? Now then, I think on camera it's coming across ever so slightly darker hue on the head. It's more kind of toffee, caramel-esque, although it might just be my monitor to be fair. But yeah, 1 and a bit finger, kind of caramel toffee coloured head. A beer as dark as you like really. I mean, I can get nothing at all bleeding through there. That looks properly dark. And interrupting me, it seems to be a disagreement between 2 cats in the middle of my street, so please be quiet, kitties. As this is 10.5%, that head's really not hanging around. It's already halved in size and we're only kind of a minute or so after pouring, so I suspect that'll disappear super quickly. Right then, aroma time. It smells really chocolatey, touch of coffee, bit of dark stone fruit in there, maybe a bit of vanilla. I'm going off the chocolate idea, actually. I think this is, yeah, as I swill it around, that's opening up, much more fruity, more vanilla, and there's a bit of kind of marzipan, that kind of thing, which, I mean, I'm not a big fan of, to be honest, but one thing I have learned recently is that just because I'm not a fan of something doesn't mean I'm not a fan of it when it's made into beer. Now, this is meant to be, as I said, a Cherry Bakewell Imperial Stout. Cherry Bakewells have, yeah, got that kind of almondy marzipan thing to it. I'm not that big on Cherry Bakewells, to be honest, which I know will be a controversial thing to say, but I'm just not. However, that does smell like it could be absolutely divine. So let's get on to it. Cheers. Wow. Whoa. Wow. That might be the most complex beer I've drank so far on this channel. Wow. There's a raft of flavour in there. The first thing that gets you is the mouthfeel. And I was imminently about to come across and say, my first reaction to this was the mouthfeel was incredible. But then there's such an explosion of flavour after that that it kind of lost my mind for a second there. Okay. Right then, another sip. Wow. Just wow. There's so much going on. There's that sweetness, there's some pastry biscuit notes, there's some nuttiness to it almost. There's the good deep, I mean the dark malt bill in that is absolutely incredible. It's got the fruit layer, and you know what's weird? It's really clean. you would expect something with that kind of profile to be a bit, I don't know, thick and treacly, and like, the mouthfeel is incredible, but it feels clean, it feels properly refined, which is really one of the standout things. Right then, top to bottom taste test. Initially, super mild carbonation, tiny bit, it's almost a bit sweet and sour on the front of the tongue, bit of bitterness but also a bit of sweetness, kind of, I was about to say a bit of a duality, and then realised that was not a, anyway, that wasn't intentional. After that, yeah, slightly sour cherry kick, which is kind of a nod to that Bakewell tart thing, which is really nice though. It's not super sour, it's just a bit of that tart cherry. It mellows out just before the swallow, and then on the swallow you do get a big flavour crash, but it's much less jarring than it is on most beers. It feels much more fluid. I'm happy to say the marzipan isn't reigning supreme. It turns into more of an almond nuttiness than a proper marzipan flavour, which I'm a big fan of. And you're left with more of a sweet, fresh cherry fruit vibe at the end, along with that almost coffee-esque, but not quite, dark bill of the malts, and it's just, oh, that is superb. You know what? When I bought this beer, it wasn't cheap either. It was like £8 a can or something. I thought, I really don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't like Cherry Bakewell, and I'll be honest and say I've not liked a lot of Black Iris beers I've tried before. I've not had loads, but they just, most of the stuff they do is super pale, super hoppy, a shed load of citro, just not my bag. And I was worried that they were going to try and force that into an impy stout, and they haven't. This is absolutely phenomenal. Wow, that could be, I don't want to say that's beer of the year, but it's a hell of a contender. That is absolutely outrageous. The first sip, I was a bit worried. It was really so much going on. It was almost a bit like kind of flavour shock. But then when you get into it, I mean, 7.5%, I've got through half of it already. I really want to savour this because it's incredible. So I'm not going to drink too much more now on the video. I am going to take a look at the can and talk a bit more about Black Iris and that sort of thing. So on the can, as before, I push my fingers into my pies. The artwork is by Kev Gray, which is an appropriate surname for Slipknot. And Black Iris, brewed and canned at Black Iris Brewery, Unit 1, 27 Shipston Street, Nottingham, NG7. Shipston's really close to me actually, and it's the old Shipston's brewery. I think Shipston still brew there. I'm not really sure what happened with Shipston's. I think they folded and got bought again. I don't know, but anyway, it's in a historic, important Nottingham brewery, even though they are a relatively newcomer in the last 10 years. So, allergy advice for allergens: Inc. cereals containing gluten-free underlined ingredients, and the ingredients are malted barley, wheat, oats, sugar, hops, yeast, cherry puree, strawberry puree, vanilla pods, almond essence, lactose, and water. Wow, what an eclectic mix of things to shove into a beer. Right, so it's got oats in there, helping the mouthfeel, yeah, absolutely. It's got sugar in there, just raw sugar, presumably just to boost that ABV up. It's got some hops, doesn't say what, yeast. The cherry puree is there in abundance. The strawberry puree doesn't immediately come across the strawberry, but it's what I suspect that is what you're getting at the end when it's kind of a sweeter fruit note, rather than the slightly more tart cherry up front. Vanilla pods, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not getting heaps of vanilla in the flavour, but I think, like with the beer I reviewed from Wilde last week, the vanilla just kind of sits with everything else and mellows through, kind of always blends quite nicely, so not necessarily stand out on its own, but it was absolutely there on the aroma. Almond essence, yeah, absolutely. Lactose, again, really, really slapping that texture and mouthfeel home, and water. Cherry Bakewell Imperial Stout, 10.5%. 4.62 units in this can. It's an absolute beast, and you know what? It does not taste it. It tastes strong, don't get me wrong. First sip, you're not going to think, oh, this might have been a 4.5%. No chance. It's the real McCoy, but it drinks so easy for a 10.5%. It's unreal. They're Black Iris Brewery on Instagram, Black Iris Brewer on Twitter. Wow. Just wow. That is everything that's on the can, and I have to say, I mean, let's just enjoy that artwork one more time. I've not kept a can yet. I've never had a beer where I thought, you know what, I need to keep that can. But I suspect this one might get pride of place somewhere, because look at it. I mean, that's just incredible. Just incredible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to come back to it and give you kind of some final thoughts. But this is an incredible beer. Everything's starting to homologate on the nose a little bit. That does smell, now it's been opened, just like a liquefied Bakewell tart. It really does. Just a liquefied Bakewell tart. It's thick, it's syrupy, it's somehow clean, it's fruity. That nutty, that almond nut thing is absolutely brilliant. It doesn't really taste like marzipan, which I'm very thankful for. It gives it a real, you don't get a lot of nut quality in beer, and that is, oh, I'm a big fan. I'm a real big fan of that. It gives it a new edge that most people just don't go to, and I'm absolutely loving it. Right, I'm going to go in and enjoy and try and sip this and make it last a bit, because, well, it's a big boy, and we'll smash most of it in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.